Las Vegas, Nevada, September 22nd, 1992, 12:07 p.m. Imagine you are standing in the center of the Stardust Resort and Casino. Close your eyes. Listen to the symphony of greed, the endless, hypnotic ding-ding-ding of the slot machines, the riffling of cards, the shouts of a tourist from Ohio who just won $50. The air smells of stale cigarette smoke, cheap perfume, and desperation. In this chaotic sea of neon and noise, you see a man. His name is Bill Brennan. He doesn't look like a criminal mastermind. He doesn't look like a villain from a Bond movie. He looks like nothing. He is 34 years old, balding, wearing a nondescript polo shirt and slacks. He has the kind of face you forget the moment you look away. He is a ghost in the machine, a sportsbook cashier who has spent years counting other people's money. Watch him closely. He is walking toward the employee exit. He moves with a calm, practiced rhythm. He isn't running, he isn't sweating, he isn't looking over his shoulder. Over his shoulder is a simple gym bag. To the security guard at the door, it probably looks like gym clothes, maybe a sandwich for lunch, but you know better. Inside that bag isn't a ham sandwich. It is $507,361 in cash and casino chips. Bill Brennan waves to the guard. The guard waves back. And just like that, Bill steps out into the blinding Nevada sun. He gets into his car. He drives away. He is not going to lunch. He is going into the void. Bill Brennan doesn't know it yet, or maybe he does, but he has just committed one of the most successful, infuriatingly simple heists in American history. No guns, no masks, no note. Just a man who decided he was done being invisible by becoming the most famous phantom Las Vegas has ever seen, and he will never be seen again. To understand how a man walks away with $500,000 in a gym bag, you first have to understand the cathedral where he worshipped and where he sinned. The Stardust Resort and Casino. In 1992, Las Vegas was in the middle of an identity crisis. The mobsters were being pushed out, replaced by corporations and family-friendly theme parks. The Dunes was about to be imploded. The MGM Grand was rising from the dust. But the Stardust? The Stardust was the last bastion of the old guard. It was the place that inspired the movie Casino. It was the house that Tony the Ant Spilatro once watched over. It smelled of cheap cigars, spilled bourbon, and history. The Stardust wasn't just a building, it was a fortress of paranoia. Look up at the ceiling. Those black bubbles? That's the eye in the sky. In 1992, the Stardust had one of the most sophisticated surveillance systems on the planet. Hundreds of cameras, a team of security experts sitting in a dark room, watching every hand of blackjack, every spin of the roulette wheel, every twitch of a nervous gambler. The philosophy was simple. Trust no one. But here is the irony, the fatal flaw in the system that cost them $500,000. The eye in the sky was designed to look down. It was designed to catch card counters from MIT, sleight of hand artists, and cheats. It was obsessed with the enemy outside the gates. It wasn't looking at the furniture. And that's what a sportsbook cashier is. Furniture. The sportsbook is the heart of the Stardust. It's a wall of screaming LED numbers, a chaotic stock market of adrenaline where men bet their mortgages on a football game. The cashiers in the cage, they are human ATMs. They stand behind the glass for 8 hours a day, watching millions of dollars pass through their fingertips, handling stacks of cash thick enough to choke a horse. They are vetted, they are background checked, they are considered safe. So in a city built on the premise that the house always wins, the Stardust made a critical error. They assumed that a man who shows up on time, wears a clean shirt, and never complains is a loyal employee. They forgot that the most dangerous person in the room isn't the guy with the gun or the guy with the ace up his sleeve. It's the guy who has been staring at the money for 4 years. Realizing that the only difference between him and a rich man is a gym bag and the courage to walk out the door. In every great heist movie, you have a team. The demolitions expert, the hacker, the muscle, the charmer. In this story, you only have Bill Brennan, and on paper, Bill is none of those things. If you were casting the movie of his life in 1992, you would cast an extra. Someone whose face blends into the beige wallpaper. Bill is 34 years old, a native of Towanda, Pennsylvania, a town as quiet as he is. He has no criminal record, no parking tickets, no debts to loan sharks, no drug habit. He is squeaky clean. He lives in a modest apartment a few miles from the Strip. He has a cat. He keeps his place tidy. He is the neighbor you never notice until the police tape goes up. But you need to look closer at the man behind the counter. Bill is what psychologists might call a collector's item of resentment. He isn't doing this for the thrill. He is doing this because he is tired. Imagine standing in a cage for 4 years. You watch high rollers, men with more money than manners, toss around your yearly salary on a single football game. You count millions of dollars, stack them in neat piles, and then you go home to a lonely apartment and a microwave dinner. You are the gatekeeper to the treasure, but you are not allowed to touch the gold. Bill Brennan isn't a criminal mastermind. He is a disgruntled employee, the most dangerous kind. He had applied for a management position, a chance to step up, a chance to be someone. The Stardust management looked at this quiet, receding hairline cashier and said, no. They didn't see potential. They saw a tool, a worker bee. This rejection is the fuel. It transforms Bill from a sad sack into a silent assassin. Opposing him is the House. The Stardust management isn't a single person. It is a machine. It is a corporate entity drunk on its own power. They believe their security systems are infallible. They believe their background checks are gospel. They look at Bill Brennan and see a sheep. They are so confident in their intimidation tactics, so sure that the eye in the sky sees all, that they forget to look at the hands of the man they trust to hold the vault key. They are the Goliath, fat and happy, sleeping at the gate. Bill is the David without a slingshot. He doesn't want to kill Goliath. He just wants to take Goliath's wallet and vanish. If you are expecting a laser grid, a Mission Impossible mask rip, or a team of hackers shutting down the power grid, stop right there. You are thinking too hard. And that is exactly why the Stardust security failed. They were thinking too hard too. Bill Brennan's plan was a masterclass in audacity. It was the purloined letter of crimes, hide the object in plain sight. The plan relied on a single, terrifyingly simple concept, the invisibility of routine. It's September 22nd. It's lunchtime, the most mundane time of the day. Inside the sportsbook cage, cash is moving. But Bill doesn't grab a handful and run. That's for amateurs. Bill has been studying the rhythm of the cage for years. He knows exactly when the supervisors look away. He knows exactly when his colleagues go on break. He knows the blind spots, not the camera's blind spots, but the human blind spots. He starts loading the bag. He doesn't stuff it frantically. He moves with the slow, deliberate speed of a man packing his gym clothes. One bundle of hundreds. Thump. A stack of casino chips. Click. Another bundle. Thump. Here is the perfect plan. He isn't sneaking. He is behaving exactly like an employee leaving for the day. He is using the casino's own arrogance against it. They believe no one would be stupid enough to just walk out with the money. So they are looking for it. But then comes the human element, the variable that can't be calculated. The security guard at the employee exit. This is the choke point. The guard has one job: check the bags. It is a rule written in stone. If the guard does his job, Bill goes to prison for 20 years. If the guard asks to unzip the bag, the game is over. Bill approaches the door. The bag is heavy. $500,000 weighs about 11 pounds, 5 kilograms, depending on the denomination. It swings against his hip, a pendulum of doom. He reaches the guard. Time slows down. You can hear the blood rushing in your ears. Does Bill freeze? Does he stutter? Number. He looks the guard in the eye. He smiles. He says something trivial. See you tomorrow, or have a good one. And the guard? The guard sees Bill. Boring, balding, reliable Bill. The guy who never causes trouble. The guard's brain takes a shortcut. He doesn't see a thief. He sees a coworker. He doesn't see a bag of loot. He sees dirty laundry. The human element kicks in. Complacency. The guard waves. Bill pushes the door open. The air conditioning creates a suction sound, like a gasp. And just like that, the most sophisticated security... The most violent part of this crime wasn't a gunshot. It was the silence. Bill Brennan drives away. He doesn't speed. He obeys every traffic light. He merges onto the highway, merging into the anonymity of the American road. Meanwhile, back at the Stardust, the clock is ticking. 1 p.m. The slot machines are still singing. 2 p.m. The cocktail waitresses are still serving free drinks. 3 p.m. The shift change approaches. This is the slow-motion horror of the situation. For hours, the Stardust is bleeding $500,000, and nobody knows it. The wound is open, but the pain hasn't registered yet. The managers are walking past the empty cage where Bill stood, completely unaware that their lives are about to be turned upside down. Then, the moment of impact. It happens during the routine count. A supervisor opens the drawer. He frowns. He counts again. His fingers move faster this time. The frown turns into a grimace. The grimace turns into pale, cold shock. It's not just short, it's empty. Where is Bill? The question hangs in the air like smoke. They call his apartment. No answer. They check the break room. Empty. They check the bathroom. Empty. Then, the panic sets in. It spreads like a virus. The phone calls start. First to the head of security, then to the casino manager, then to the police. The escalation. Suddenly, the eye in the sky room is no longer a bored surveillance center. It is a war room. Men in suits are screaming. Technicians are rewinding tapes. Rewind. 12:05 p.m. There he is. Rewind. 12:07 p.m. There he is, walking to the door. Pause. 12:07:30 p.m. The wave. The managers stare at the grainy monitor. They watch the guard wave back. They watch $500,000 walk out the door with a casual swagger. You can practically hear the collective heart attack of the Stardust Executive Board. The sirens finally come. Not one car, a fleet. The Las Vegas Metro Police swarm the building. The FBI is notified. The media gets wind of it. The Stardust, the fortress, the legend, has been humiliated. But the climax of this scene isn't the police arriving. It's the realization of time. They look at the clock. It is now evening. Bill has had a 4, maybe 5-hour head start. In 5 hours, a man in a car can be in California. He can be in Arizona. He can be at the airport, on a plane to Mexico, sipping a margarita before the police have even finished filling out the report. The Stardust didn't just lose money. They lost the race before they even knew the starting gun had fired. Usually in stories like this is the part where I tell you about the slip-up. You know the drill. The criminal buys a bright yellow Lamborghini in a small town. He calls his ex-girlfriend to brag. He gets pulled over for a broken taillight with the money in the trunk. The fatal mistake is almost always a product of ego. But Bill Brennan offers us a different kind of twist. A twist that is far more disturbing. His mistake was that he vanished too perfectly. In the weeks following the heist, the FBI waited. They tapped his phone. They watched his family in Pennsylvania. They monitored the banks. They waited for the inevitable ping of a credit card or a sighting in a tropical paradise. Silence. No postcards, no spending sprees, no drunk confessions in a bar in Mexico. Bill Brennan didn't just leave Las Vegas, he evaporated from the surface of the earth. And that is where the story takes a dark, ironic turn. See, $500,000 is a life-changing amount of money, but it is not vanish forever money. Not in 1992. It's enough to buy a house and a car, but not enough to buy a new face, a new identity, and a lifetime of security on a private island. To disappear completely requires connections. It requires help. And that leads us to the chilling realization, the potential fatal mistake that Bill may have made before he even stepped out that door.
The prevailing theory among detectives isn't that Bill is sipping mojitos on a beach.
It's that he never made it out of the desert. Think about it. A quiet, nerdy sportsbook cashier suddenly decides to pull a heist? It doesn't fit the profile. Unless someone whispered in his ear. Someone told him, "You grab the cash, I'll drive the getaway car." I know a guy who can get us new passports. The twist is that Bill Brennan might not be the villain of this story. He might be the victim. The irony is crushing. He stole the money to escape his boring, invisible life. But if the theories are true, that money didn't buy him freedom. It bought him a shallow grave in the vast, unforgiving Mojave Desert. He wanted to be a rich man. Instead, he became a ghost, literally. The fatal mistake wasn't dropping a clue. It was trusting the wrong person to help him carry the bag. 30 years have passed. The calendars have turned, the technology has changed, and the world has moved on. But the file of Bill Brennan remains open. For decades, the FBI kept his face on the most wanted list. They chased tips that led nowhere. A sighting in Colombia, a rumor in Europe, a whisper in a Canadian fishing village. Every time the agents arrived, and every time they found only shadows. The Stardust Resort and Casino did not survive to see the case solved. In March 2007, the Stardust was imploded. Thousands of pounds of dynamite turned the legendary fortress into a pile of rubble and dust. The neon lights were shattered. The eye in the sky that missed Bill Brennan was buried under tons of concrete. The scene of the crime was erased from the map. But Bill Brennan endures. He has become a folk hero in the dark mythology of Las Vegas. To the overworked cashiers and the underpaid staff, he is a legend, the quiet man who beat the house. He represents the ultimate fantasy, walking out the door and never coming back. However, we must return to the desert. If you drive out past the city limits today, where the neon glow fades into the ink-black darkness of the Mojave, ask yourself, what happened to Bill? Whatever the truth is, Bill Brennan achieved immortality. He entered the Stardust as a nobody. He left as a phantom. And tonight, somewhere in the world, or perhaps in the next, Bill Brennan is still counting his chips.